Get.
Okay. Today is the third class for the meditation seminar. We're going to discuss the matter of human energy, of our bioenergy, and how we can consciously, through meditation and some breathing techniques and other techniques, learn to raise the level of our energy. Because the level of our energy is directly related to our mind and to our consciousness. The concept is that in this process of evolution, there is a spiritual energy which exists at the base of the spine, and it is moving upward. Wendy, you're exactly in front of the camera. You're sitting in front of the camera. No, now you're even worse. Please come sit over here or there. Okay. That there is an energy in the bottom of the spine, which is called prana or kundalini, and that as an individual evolves, this energy moves upward. And as this energy moves upward, other levels of consciousness are awakened. Now there are various ways to cause these centers, which we're going to talk about in a moment, to open, but also meditation and exercise and breathing are one way. There are psychological ways, there are spiritual ways, religious ways, there are various ways of manifesting this change. So our evolutionary process is accompanied by the rising of this energy in the spinal column and the awakening of these centers of consciousness. Now, what are these centers of consciousness? There are many systems, and some systems report that there are 5, others 7, others 12, others 14, depending on the system. We're going to talk about 7 centers of consciousness. Now, the first center is at the bottom of the spine, at the coccyx, and it governs our sense of security, our need to protect ourselves and to create a feeling of safety. So when we're functioning from that level of consciousness, whatever we do is an attempt to create an environment in which we feel safe and secure. That could be by obtaining a love partner, or by having money, or by having people around us that love us, or by belonging to a group, or having a house, anything that makes us feel secure, having food. So when we function from the first center of consciousness, we are seeking security. A great percentage of our time and energy is devoted to this process. The second center of consciousness has to do with pleasure and satisfaction of our needs. And so when we function from that center, we are seeking to satisfy various sensual needs, whatever they may be, to receive stimuli from the environment, whether they be chemical or visual, for example, watching television or eating something that satisfies us, or sexual pleasure, or drinking or taking tranquilizers, or anything which creates a state of either excitement or relaxation or pleasure. So the second level of consciousness is the seeking of pleasure or satisfaction. Not that there is anything wrong in any of those inherently. It's just that when we become addicted to something, then we lose our freedom. So when we become addicted to something in order to feel security, we lose our sense of freedom and our sense of security, because when we're addicted to a certain person or situation, then we can never feel secure because we're always afraid of losing it. And when we're addicted to a certain substance, such as coffee or cigarettes or anything like this, we can't be happy. We can't either have energy or relax without them. And also, they gradually destroy our health. So it's an addictive situation in which we lose our freedom to create health or to be free in our lives. The third center, I'm saying these briefly because we have already discussed these in the first year of the Self-Knowledge Seminar. Okay, so you already are aware of these. We're discussing them for the second time now. The third center is the center for power or for affirmation. And everything that we do when we are functioning from this center is to try to get affirmed or to have power over our environment. So we want other people, we do what we do in order to have other people's acceptance, approval, love, or in some way have power over them. So these three first centers together consume about 90% of our time and energy, because we're seeking, what we're doing is we're just trying to keep physically, economically safe for life. Most people are giving at least 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 hours a day. If you add to that the need to get affirmed by society and relatives, and you add the clothing and the cosmetics and the social events and all of these things that we do simply to feel that we'll be accepted by other people, and a tremendous amount of money, time, and energy go into these first three needs. The fourth center, which is here at the chest area, the second center is just below the navel. The third is at the solar plexus area. The fourth is in the heart center, in the center of the chest. It doesn't correspond to the physical heart. It's in the center of the chest. And when a person functions from this center, he functions with love, without conditions. Because usually what we call love is a form of attachment or a form of bargaining. That is, I love you because you make me feel secure, or I love you because you give me pleasure, or I love you because you affirm me. And if you start giving security or pleasure or affirmation to others, I don't like it and I stop loving you. So this is not really love. This is not pure love. This is love, but with attachment, with needs. You see? So as long as the needs are satisfied, we feel love. But if the needs are not satisfied, we stop feeling love. And we can even feel hate. Because we were expecting this person to give this security or pleasure or affirmation only to us. So when we are able to raise this energy in any way, either psychologically or spiritually to the heart center, we begin to have a love which doesn't depend on what the other person does. It's not based on the fact that they're giving us anything. We love them as they are and whatever they do. This is a form of unconditional love. Now at this level of unconditional love, we usually feel that for a few certain people. For example, I love my child unconditionally. I might love my spouse or my brother or sister or parent unconditionally. And I may be able to maintain my love for those beings, whatever they may do. In most cases, it's not true. In most cases, the love, even for children or siblings or spouses, is not unconditional, but we might be able to do that. Or for a good friend. When the energy rises to the fifth center here in the throat, which is also a psychic center, a creative center, we begin to feel this kind of love for a wider circle of people. We become more identified with society, more interested in how our brothers and sisters in society are, and more interested in serving them. From this center, we begin to function like cells in a body, whereas the cells serve the body. They don't have their own life. There would be no sense in a cell accumulating blood or accumulating oxygen for the future. So, I mean, the cell lives for the body. It lives for the good of the whole, and it serves the whole. And the body, the consciousness of the body, cares for the cell. It gives it food, it gives it oxygen, it gives it nutrients, it gives it hormones, it protects it with the antibodies, it takes away its waste products. There's a total relationship of one serving the other. That is, the cell serves the body, and the body supports and protects the cell. When a person arrives to this fifth state of consciousness, this is the way he begins to function in relationship to society. He does not feel so much need for a personal life. He does not feel so much need anymore to fulfill these first three needs of safety, pleasure, and affirmation, because he has solved that problem internally. He feels internal security, inner security. He feels inner satisfaction, and he feels inner self-worth. So he doesn't have to spend so much time and energy and money in order to affirm these three things. So much energy is left over to give to the whole. And he gets into what is called the flow, the dharmic flow, or the flow of nature, in which he is supported now, he or she, we shouldn't always use the masculine. He or she is supported in this process so that they experience what is called an abundance. He or she will have exactly what they need in order to live happily, to feel fulfilled, and to fulfill their life goal, to do what they were born to do with their lives. They may not have luxuries, but they will have meaning. They will have satisfaction. They will have inner peace. You see. So sometimes we have to choose between a luxurious life and a happy life, because a luxurious life doesn't necessarily mean a happy life. So what makes a happy life is a life of meaning, a life in which a person gets up in the morning and feels, today I am going to do with my life things that have meaning to me, things which are important to me, things which make me feel good about myself and what I am doing. You see. That could be in any environment. There's no special occupations. I mean, bringing up children could be this way, doing scientific research could be doing this way, cleaning the streets could be doing this way. Any job, any function can be performed in this way if this is what the person has been born to do. We'll get into that at another point in the seminar. If the energy rises to the sixth center, here in the forehead, then the person begins to experience what is called the witness. And he begins to become the witness of himself and the witness of life, in which he doesn't get engaged in all of these fears and thinking processes. He realizes when he's functioning from this center of consciousness that I am something else. I am not my body and I am not my mind. That my body and my mind are instruments which I am using in order to function on the earth level. Just as my car is an instrument that I use to move from one place to another, but I am not my car. And if my car has some problems, then I am not in danger. The car is in danger, and I can fix it. So if the body has some problems, I am not in danger. And if the mind has some problems, I still am not in danger because I am not the mind, you see. So when it's functioning from this level of consciousness, things are completely different. Often other people cannot understand this person's way of reacting emotionally because he cannot recognize death as a problem. He cannot recognize loss as a problem because he realizes that the body and the mind are very temporary. And so he cannot be so concerned. I mean, he will understand that this other person is upset and he will want to help that person, but he's not going to lose his peace because someone died or someone lost their fortune or whatever happened, because he realizes these are simply temporary physical situations which serve the evolution of the soul. He loves, but he may not love in the way that other people want him to love. Other people, when people are unhappy, they want other people to get unhappy too. They want them, they want to feel that you're really feeling how unhappy I am. For example, if our child loses her doll, for example, or a car, small toy car, we know why the child is feeling unhappy. We have been in that space. We're not going to reject the child for feeling so unhappy, but we're not going to sit there and cry with the child, because you know very well that this toy is not so important and that it's a temporary thing, and then she's going to go on in life and he's going to go on in life, and things will be okay. And the same thing that this person that's functioning from the witness will see with someone who loses a loved one or loses a fortune or loses even their health, because these are all temporary. When one begins to see that, we are all destined to die. No one in history has been able to avoid that. So it's the most natural thing, you see. So when one functions from this center, the sixth center, everything is quite different. He may live a very natural life. Will do everything that he does, but he's not so much affected by it. And the seventh center of consciousness, it's difficult to talk about because it's the center in which we exist out of time and space. It's what one experiences at that level is what Abraham Maslow, psychiatrist, has called the peak experience, or which is called samadhi, in which we cease to experience separateness from creation. So we are living the illusion of separateness from God, separateness from people, and separateness from the physical world around us. In everything that we experience, there are three entities. There is the subject, the object, and the process of the interaction. For example, here there are the listeners, the speaker, and the process of speaking. In reality, behind all of that, there is only one being who is speaking to himself. You see. So when this person rises to that level of consciousness, then he ceases to experience himself as something separate from nature. He experiences the ecstasy of oneness, much as in sexual orgasm, two people experience a loss of separateness. But this is now a spiritual orgasm, a spiritual state of loss of identity. I think Christ was speaking from this state when he said, I am in you and you are in me, and I am in the Father and the Father is in me. He was speaking from a state of total oneness. And I am consciousness, and as consciousness I am you, and you are in me as consciousness, and I am as consciousness I am in everything, and everything is in me. So, in the Emotional Harmony Seminar, we work quite a bit on trying to free ourselves from these first three centers by discovering the beliefs which limit us to those centers. And by changing those beliefs through a psychological process, to free ourselves as much as possible through the transformation of the belief system, so as to free that energy stop feeling so fearful, stop needing so much affirmation, and so naturally the energy begins to rise into the heart center. We can help this process, however, through meditation, both by our concentration and by our focusing on the energy in the breathing technique, which I will show you at the end of the lecture, and which we will start to employ before meditating daily. I'm going to show you a breathing technique which we'll be using, which will be focusing on these centers, energizing them, and letting the energy rise. Now, there is a reason why the energy is not rising now. One reason is that we have little energy, and so if we have a building in which the water pressure is low, the water may not get to the 5th or 6th floor, you see. It will be stronger on the 1st floor and the 2nd floor. So if we consider this to be a pipe of energy, when the energy is low, it's simply not enough to reach the 4th, 5th, 6th centers. So one process is increasing the energy. But this can be dangerous if we overdo it. And also, first of all, we need to remove the blockages which exist between the centers. Now, what are these blockages? Because it's like we have this pipe, but it's got rust in it, okay? And this is also a reason why the water is not going up. Now, one of these blockages are the toxins that we have in our physical body. So if we start experiencing these high energy states and we still have these toxins in our physical body from the way we've been eating so many years, we can have physical problems and even emotional problems. Another obstacle is our emotional states, because energy is neutral. It will amplify whatever is there. So if there's positive feelings, it will amplify them, but if there are negative, it will also amplify them. And it will bring the subconscious to the surface. So the subconscious is like this long hall between the personality and the soul. In order to get to the soul, I have to clean out the subconscious. And this is why we require people in Harmonic Izui to do 2 years of self-analysis first, and then go on to learn meditation. Another factor are the various muscular tensions and energy blockages which exist in the body. And most important of all, what I already mentioned, the emotional mechanisms. Another factor also is our posture. And because as that energy begins to get into the body, it's going to want to straighten it. This happens anyway when we meditate. And so all of these things need to be dealt with before we awaken this energy. So we need to purify our bodies, put our emotions into balance, and work on our physical body, on our organs, on our muscles, so that they are strong enough to receive this energy. You see, if you put too much energy through a wire which is too small, what will happen? It will burn. It will get so hot that it will burn. If you put too much energy through a wire with lots of impurities in it, it will get even hotter. Because the more the impurities, the hotter the wire gets when the energy goes through it, when the electricity goes through it. So we are going to start working with this energy, but we must also address ourselves to what do we need to do to purify the body and the emotions so that this energy can flow more purely and without creating problems. Now, what are the symptoms of this energy having arisen in the body without our having previously created the state of purity which is necessary? This is physically, emotionally, and mentally. Some people experience extreme heat, others extreme cold. Some can experience great hunger or loss of appetite. We experience the extremes depending on which channel this goes through. You see, there are 3 channels. There is the central channel, which is the Sushumna, and then there's 2 channels which go like this. If you've ever seen that the sign that they have for the doctors, 2 snakes or two things going up like this. And these are the alternative channels which cross each other, the Ida and Pingala. The one channel creates hyperactivity, and the other creates a lack of activity, an inertia in the body. So when this energy begins to go up, if the central channel is blocked because of toxins or emotional states, then the energy is forced to go through the right or left channel, and sometimes alternatively, which means that this person can experience alternative states: hot, cold, hunger, lack of appetite, sexual desire, aversion towards sex, high emotional states, depression. You see, so all of these opposites can be accentuated if someone tries to awaken this energy without having done the previous work of catharsis, of cleansing the body and the mind for this process. You should have no fear. The way that we are doing it for 20 minutes a day will not create any problem. But if you start meditating an hour or two a day, or doing breathing exercises a half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour a day, then you just might have some problems. If you do have such symptoms, then speak to us about it, and we will ask you some questions in order to determine whether you should lessen the hours of meditation, whether you should do something else. So in meditating, you should not go gung-ho into, well, since 20 minutes is good, an hour and a half is better. It's not true. Stay with the 20 minutes to a half an hour for the first year. Let's let the things come out slowly. Let's purify ourselves slowly. And let's do everything else around that which is helpful. Now, what is helpful? Fasting can be helpful in order to purify the body. We would suggest 1 day a week. We don't suggest long fasts, but you might want to choose 1 day a week in which you would like to either just take water or juice or fruit or vegetables only. You know, eat more lightly that day. That is one way of purifying the body. And if on those days you want to employ in the beginning some kind of yogic cleansing technique, such as enemas or stomach wash, washing out the stomach or washing out the intestines, that can also be done. And if you want, sometime we can explain those to you. But they're also in the books Yoga Yaigia Keremia and the Aftotherapia and Diatrophy Ieke Zondanya. In these 3 books, there are details on these cleansing techniques. The second aspect is a pure diet. Now, yoga clarifies that there are 3 states of matter, three states of everything in this physical world. One state is called tamas, the state of inertia. Now, the foods which create inertia in the body are foods which have been cooked too much, foods which have been processed. So anything that doesn't spoil, except for some grains, is probably going to create inertia. If something is alive, it should spoil. So when you can leave it on your shelf for more than a month, then you know that's not a live thing. That's a tamasic thing. If it's in a can, if it's in a box, if it's got preservatives, if it'll last a long time, it cannot be alive. Whatever is alive deteriorates. Okay? So anything in cans, anything in boxes, anything that's processed, anything which is cooked and eaten the next day, anything which is overcooked, it's lost its prana. It's lost its vitality, its energy. Because all energy comes from the sun. Okay? And that energy is a pranic energy. Besides the chemical energy, there's a pranic energy which we see. If we go to the farmer's market, we would not buy a head of lettuce in which the leaves are like this. We want to find one in which the leaves were supple, they were strong. If you take them, they would come back to their place. Okay? You wouldn't buy a carrot that was like that, or a cucumber, because you see, it doesn't have energy. You see, the prana, its life force, has moved out. Whereas in the fresh vegetables and fruits, the life force is still there. the life force is also in the grains, because if you put water on them, they'll sprout. So there is life in there. So when we take this life force, this is called sattva. The inertia is called tamas. It's a state of tamas, a state of inertia. When we eat these kinds of foods, our mind becomes dull, our energy level becomes less. The other kind of food is rajasic food, which makes us hyperactive. That is meat and spices. Because when we kill a cow or a sheep or a pig, the adrenaline which is in that being is dispersed into all of the muscles. And so we're eating anxiety, we're eating fear. So we're eating these vibrations of violence. Now, we're not saying that we're not killing also the carrot, and we're not killing the lettuce, but they have a different vibration. It's a different vibrationary level. So when we eat meat, this creates a rajasic state. And this is why most meditators either choose to stop eating meat when they start meditating, or throughout the years as they meditate, they lose their appetite for meat, even for chicken or fish. I haven't eaten fish, chicken, or birds or meat for 30 years. I'm perfectly healthy. I give blood regularly. There's nothing lacking from my body. It's a total myth that you have to have it. Maybe some people need to have it. Maybe some people with anemia or low blood pressure may need occasionally to take some fish. Think of it, that millions of Hindus and Buddhists live all their lives without ever eating them. They are mentally capable, physically capable beings, without ever having put, even from their birth, a piece of meat, fish, or chicken in their bodies. So do not be fooled by this myth that you have to have meat. So what is also intense, adding too many spices also can be rajasic, and some vegetables can be rajasic or stimulating, specifically garlic and onions. Now, I think that it's probably going too far to think that we have to cut out garlic and onions from our diet because they're rajasic. They also have many health benefits too. So each of you is going to have to find for yourself what you want to do. I'm not telling you you have to stop eating meat. I'm suggesting it. I'm telling you that you don't need it. Whatever you do, however, I would suggest you do it slowly and gradually, any changes that you make, so that your body can adjust to that process. I did feel a lack of energy the first 2 years that I stopped eating meat, and then there was no problem at all. So you might want, because I stopped like that, but you might want to do this as a slow process if you want to do it. The sattvic foods, the foods which create harmony and in the body and in the mind, and give peace to the mind but give energy also, are all of the fresh vegetables and fruits, grains, nuts, but not roasted and salted, fresh nuts, preferably soaked. Grains and legumes in their whole wheat, whole rice as much as possible, so that they're more alive. And what is especially beneficial is sprouts, making sprouts from wheat or from alfalfa or from mung beans or even from chickpeas. You can make sprouts from just about any of these things. It's full of life force. It's just full of enzymes and life force. And of course, a certain amount of dairy. And the best form of dairy products is yogurt, but fresh yogurt, not the kind that'll last a month in the refrigerator. The kind that lasts a week or so. That fresh, live yogurt. Okay, so 2 things we have discussed now as preparation for meditation, as an accompanying meditation in our life, is to be careful now about what we are putting in our bodies. So that means if you like fasting 1 day a week or fasting a few hours a week, I don't know, you see what you can do, and eating healthily. And more important than everything, as much as possible, eating live things, live food. The third aspect of preparing the body for this process is exercise. Now the yoga asanas were actually created for this process. Now in the West, very few people actually do yoga. They call it yoga, but it's not. Yoga is postures, it's not exercises. Any exercise, anything you should do which is moving is just a preparation for yoga. The real yoga is taking a position, such as the shoulder stand, or the forward stretch, or the torsion, or the cobra, and staying there as you continually scan your body and become aware of the physical and energy blockages that are existing, and then mentally letting go of that so that the energy can flow. Everything else to do, going up, down, breathing this way and this way, is just simply preparation for yoga. Now they discovered these techniques specifically for people who meditate, because they release the energy body. They remove the blockages from the energy body, and they function directly on the nervous system and on the endocrine system. And they free up the energy so that when you sit in meditation, your energy is already smoothed out and harmonious, because many thoughts in meditation are created by the state of energy. So if the energy is low, we go into this astral state, this dreamlike state, all kinds of images coming to the mind without any reason or rhyme to them. And when the energy is rajasic, then we start thinking about what we're going to do tomorrow, all these plans that we have, how we're going to control our lives and control other people around us, and how we're going to organize everything, and what are we going to... And so there's obviously no possibility of transcending the mind. So doing exercises before meditation helps a great deal. And this is why we suggest that if one wants to do this as a package, that he will do exercises, breathing, prayer if he likes, and meditation. So it's like driving a car, you know. You wouldn't try to start your car out in fourth gear. You have to put it in first gear, get a little bit of momentum, and you put it in second gear, you increase the momentum, and then you can go into third. So exercise is like first gear, breathing is second gear, prayer is third gear, and meditation is fourth gear. So it's like, you know, one thing is preparing for the next. And so that doesn't mean that you can't do yoga without exercises or breathing first, but it's more effective. Now we specifically, when we're doing exercises, want to care for the spine, exercises which remove tension from the spine, because that's where the energy is going up. So we want bending backward, bending forward, sideward bending, torsion, and upward stretching, all of these for the spine, so as to create a spine that can sit straight. Also, we're interested in increasing the flow of blood to the brain, because this rejuvenates all the brain functions, which means also thinking, because thinking is affected by the brain. Okay? Because when the blood is not getting to the brain, we think differently than when the blood is getting to the brain. Okay, so these are the two most important considerations in our exercises. Now, if you also want to do other things for the abdomen, for the joints, do everything that helps you. But what we're really interested for the meditation is spine and brain, because this is where it's happening. Now, the next step, the next aspect of preparing for meditation is learning to control the breathing. It's one thing to observe the breathing, and it's another thing to control the breathing. Okay? So we want to begin. There are 4 acts of breathing. There's inhaling, there is retention of the air in the lungs, there is exhaling, and there is retention of the air outside of the lungs, that is, with the lungs empty. So we are going to use what is called the square breathing before meditation. We did it last week also, where we are going to try to make the count even. That if I'm counting to 3 inhaling, then I will hold for count of 3, I will exhale for a count of 3, and then I will hold empty the lungs for a count of 3, and then I inhale for 3, and so on. The number 3 is arbitrary. You could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 2. You will gradually find your own rhythm. And theoretically, with time, we can increase that so that we're breathing more slowly, and the whole cycle is taking a longer period of time, because the slower we breathe, the calmer the mind. And the calmer the mind, the slower we can breathe. There's a direct relationship between breathing and thinking. It's difficult, it's impossible to breathe slowly if you're thinking. And if you stop your thoughts completely, you can hold your breath for quite a long time. But we're not interested in holding for long. Don't hold your breath for more than 7 seconds, okay? For at least the first year. Don't get into a lot of holding, because this can waken the energy. Okay. So, we're going to add to that, however, the process of alternative breathing, which means that we will be changing the nostril through which we are breathing. This is because when we breathe through the left nostril, this activates the right hemisphere, and also breathing through the left nostril only creates a tamasic state, or a state of lack of energy. Whereas breathing through the right nostril only activates the left hemisphere, and it creates an hyperactivity in the mental processes. So when we meditate, we want both nostrils to be open, and that's why we will purposely create that state with our fingers before we start the meditation. Now this naturally changes throughout the day, usually about every 2 hours. That, 1 hour 2 hours we're breathing through one nostril, and then that changes over. But if we're not well, if we don't have a healthy body, one nostril can be permanently blocked and create a state of disharmony. But anyway, just before meditation, we want to create technically, to Legstone, purposely, a state of both nostrils being open. So what we do is we sit straight, we have our hand like this, with the right hand always, never the left hand, unless the right hand has some serious problem. We use our thumb to close the right nostril, and we exhale through the left. Then we inhale through the left. We close. We count. We exhale through the right. The index finger is free and towards the sky. Then we inhale through the right. We close, we hold. We exhale through the left. So that was one cycle, okay? So we are combining here breathing with the square breathing, so that I'm counting my breaths. I'm counting 1, 2, 3 on the inhalation, then I hold, but I'm alternating nostrils. Now, if you get confused, it's very simple. You exhale from a nostril, and then you inhale, and the change goes after the inhalation, after the holding, you see? So you exhale, inhale, change. Exhale, inhale, change. Exhale, inhale. So it's very simple, so that you don't get confused, okay? Now, I don't think we will add that this week, but I'm going to describe it to you, but we will add it next week in the actual meditation. And that is, we're going to combine the third factor. So we're controlling the rhythm of the breath. We're controlling the nostrils. And now what is the mind going to be doing? We're going to imagine that we inhale the energy, like this, we're taking, as if these energy centers are open to the environment. And that as we inhale, we're taking the energy into the solar plexus area. Then when we hold our breath, we feel it move up to the heart center. As we exhale, we feel it moving up through the neck, and in holding the breath without inhaling, that is in the retention without air, we're focused on the forehead. So through each breath, we are taking this trip from our solar plexus, through the heart, through the throat center, to the forehead. And this is moving the energy upward. Okay? And this is helping with this process of raising not only the energy level, but where the energy is focused. Rather than be focused down here in all of these thoughts, we are purposely, with our will, moving the energy to the higher centers. Now, I would like you to do this for 5 minutes. We'll start this from next week. This week I just want you to get into the alternate breathing with the counting so that you don't get too confused. Next week we will add the centers. But don't do it more than 5 minutes, but don't do it too little either. Use it. It's helpful. It's helpful for your health. It not only helps for meditation, but it's a very beneficial technique for increasing the immune system and for relaxing the nervous system. It's one of the most beneficial techniques which yoga has to offer. Now, another aspect which will help with meditation is also deep relaxation, which I would suggest that you might want to employ after your meditation if you have time, because sometimes we can create tension in our meditation by our sitting or by our trying to focus. And so often it's nice to do even a 10 minutes or 20-minute relaxation after the meditation if you have time. And in this case, we can just let the light come through the body, allow it to go to any areas of the body which need healing. Just heal the body, heal it, let it go even to emotions which need healing, to parts of the emotional body which need healing. And one last aspect, which we won't discuss today, but we will start as of next week, and that is it's very important for meditation to lead an ethical life. It's difficult for the mind to let go when we're feeling guilt, when there's something which we have done which we don't approve of. Just as it's difficult for the mind to let go if we're feeling fear, or if we're feeling anger or attachment. So actually, as we'll discuss next week, the whole process of Raja Yoga, the path of self-control and the path of meditation, starts actually with what are called the yamas and the niyamas. That is 10 guidelines, like the 10 commandments, and which we are asked to try to live by, because you can't live perfectly by them until you're enlightened, but at least to try. And we'll discuss them next week. They are guidelines for living, which if we live in that way, it'll be much easier for us, much easier for this energy to rise. Because if we're telling lies, if we're cheating, if we're behaving in ways which we would not like other people to behave to us, it's very natural that we're going to feel insecure and that our energy is going to get locked up in the first 3 centers, and it's not going to be able to move up into the centers of love. Or when it does, we're going to have such inner conflict that we're just going to have to make some changes in our lives. But we'll discuss that next week. Okay, now you just press the red button on the side there, Maria. There's a red button there on the side. Just push it in. Okay. I think that's about it for today. Let's do our meditation now, and then we can see if you have any questions afterwards, okay? So take a position for meditation. Okay. We're going to start first with the alternate breathing. So sit with your spine straight. Take a few breaths first of all to open up your lungs. Okay, now bring your right arm up. Let the arm be relaxed, however. Don't let the elbow be in the air. Let the elbow be down so that the arm can be relaxed. And close your right nostril with your thumb. Exhale out of the left nostril. And inhale through the left nostril. Hold. Exhale out the right nostril, closing the left. The index finger is free. Inhale through the right. Hold. Exhale out the left. Inhale through the left. And continue now at your own rate, counting to yourself so that each act of breathing is the same duration. Inhaling, holding, exhaling, and holding without, as you change nostrils. Continue a little more, a little longer. Changing nostrils and counting as you breathe. you may complete the alternate breathing. Sit with your spine straight. Allow the muscles of your abdomen to relax. Allow your solar plexus to relax. Allow your shoulders to come backward and down as they relax. Now feel the muscles of your face. Allow your jaw to be relaxed. Allow the cheeks, the muscles of the cheeks to relax. The eyes. Allow the eyes to relax. Focus on the center of the forehead. Allow the forehead to relax. If you like, you may make any inner prayer or invocation which is suitable to you. Now, focus on the light, experience the light in your forehead, divine light, energy. Allow the light to flow through your head to fill the skull. It flows into the brain, relaxing all the cells of the brain. Allow the light to flow into your neck and throat, relax that area. Flows down into the shoulders, relaxing. Into the arms. Now focus on the center of the chest, in the heart center, and feel the light there. Allow it to increase and to fill your chest area. And allow the light to flow into the solar plexus. Relax that area. And into all of the abdominal area, relaxing. And even into the legs. And if there are any parts of the body which have not accepted the light, allow them to relax and to receive the light now. Allow the light to grow and to surround the body. So that you are in the light and the light in you. Remain in this state, allowing light to fill the mind. thoughts. And come back over and over again to the awareness of the light in and around you. Observe that the mind has moved away. Bring it back to the awareness of the light. begin to return to the waking state, relax your body and your concentration. Okay, do you have any questions? Any difficulties, any questions that you have? Yes.
Just concentrate on my breath the last 2 weeks, so I have to go one more, and I have to concentrate on the light of the first time.
Yeah, you can focus on the light.
The light.
Yes?
A lot of
Okay, this is a natural release of energy, of tension, so it's not to be bothered with, it's okay. It means that it's working, that you're going to a state of inner relaxation where things can change, so it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, they can fluctuate in even minutes. Yes.
I have all kind of problem with the breathing, so should I concentrate on this?
What kind of problem?
Yeah, breathing that square and with this difficult.
Difficult. You find that your breath is not long enough?
Yeah, and unregular.
Yeah. Yeah, you should work on it then. This will help to bring the mind into focus. It'll be useful for you. Yes.
I felt dizzy.
At what point, Maria? During the breathing?
After breathing.
Yeah.
After breathing, when we started concentrating on light.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very dizzy. So I wanted to go into faint. But I came out.
This could either be the blood pressure going down or energy being released. Sometimes when a lot of energy goes to the head, it can create this dizziness. I don't think it'll be a problem. It may happen a few more times and then pass. No, it happened afterwards, she says. Yes?
The square breathing is also tiring for me.
Yes.
So I'm using another breathing, the triangular.
Yeah, okay. You can do this for a period of time.
Very good for me.
Yeah.
But I must also
Eventually it will be useful because you see each act of breathing has its own function. Inhaling and exhaling create equilibrium, balance. Holding increases energy, and holding without air empties the mind. So it's natural that it's difficult for you to do. You can do the triangular breathing, but gradually try to do 1 minute and then 2 minutes, and to obtain the ability to do the square breathing. Any other questions? Anything else you want to say?
I don't seem to be able to empty my mind. I don't think I need to be.
Mm.
Because there's always something.
Okay, well, it's quite natural. The mind has learned to function like this for so many years now. It's not easy to change it.
Would it ever happen by attempting, trying again and again?
First of all, you shouldn't be trying. Just very calmly, when you observe that the mind is thinking, bring it back to the light without feeling failure, without feeling frustration, without feeling, that you have not done what you want to do. Because if you get into this, it will not help.
No, I don't feel any. I don't feel.
Mm.
But I keep on trying to bring my mind right.
Mm.
Not think, but they keep on coming.
It's a matter of time. It's a matter of training. You're training your mind to do something which it hasn't learned to do. And for so many years, it has learned to do the opposite. It's learned to think continuously. So it takes time. Mm. You might try doing yoga beforehand. Maybe if you do exercises beforehand and then breathing, the energy may be more balanced. Also try it in the morning when you just wake up, rather than now, because
It's very difficult because in the morning I'm so energetic and thoughts coming like mad
when you just wake up.
when I just wake up.
Mm. Okay. Good.
I've been used to in the morning to think about everything I have to do during the day, and then
Mm.
I have to plan, I have to
Do you write these things down, what you're going to do?
yeah.
I'll try it in the evening then.
Never the right time.
I mean, it's a matter of giving space to this and being patient. Two things are required: perseverance. You have to persevere to keep doing it, and patience. Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking again.
Yes, exactly. This is a very common problem. Anything else?
It's not about this, it's about the food that you're talking about. I wanted to ask you about the garlic because I'm curious. I don't take antibiotics, so when I'm sick, I eat garlic.
Yeah.
I call it garlic.
Yes, it's good. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, why would it be negative?
No, it's positive for the health. It's positive as an antibiotic. It's positive for lowering the blood pressure. It's positive for cleaning out the system. I shouldn't have told you this. This would be something that someone would do in the last stages of meditation, if one has decided to live a monastic life. I mean, there are so many other things we need to do in order to create the right environment for meditation before this. This is like a small, very small thing. Yeah. It can create energy. But it's not a problem now. Maybe in 20 years you might want to consider it. I avoid garlic because I just don't like it. Not because I feel if it's in the food, I'll eat it. But, I don't seek it. Anything else?
You cited it, I've read so much about cayenne that is so, because I suffer from bad blood circulation.
Mm-hmm.
And cayenne pepper is very good for it opens the vein.
Yes.
And this is also when you said brown spices that
Mm-hmm.
contradict.
I don't think, yes, some things are contradictory. For example, some things may help health, but may not help transcending the mind. But I would think at this point, you should take the cayenne since it helps you with your circulation. And maybe after many years you might decide, but there are so many other things you can cut out. So you can let this be for a while. Okay, try to meditate daily. This is the way you can succeed in this. And we'll meet again next week. And do the breathing now, the alternate breathing before the meditation. Okay. Have a nice week.